For years, you guys have been asking me to talk more about Ukrainian metal bands, in addition to the ones that everyone knows. So today, let's take a look at some of the most unique modern metal bands that continue making music despite serving in the army, volunteer, and keep metal alive against all odds. Here you go. Formed in 1997 in Ivano-Frankivsk, Karna initially played a mix of alternative rock and nu metal, which of course was no surprise back in those days. But after their split in 2010 and a reunion 3 years later, Karna started adding more folk and ethnical motives to their music, inventing their own subgenre titled Hutsu metal, named after the Highlanders of Ukraine. And in all honesty, in my opinion, they actually might be one of the most unique and appropriate mixes of folk and modern metal, which you should definitely check out if you haven't yet. One of the biggest Ukrainian experts of today, Ignea, were formed in Kiev in 2013 under the name Parallax, yet 2 years later renamed themselves to Ignea. Which, thank God they did! And since then, they were blending a unique mixture of various subgenres of metal, actually so many that it's virtually impossible to characterize them with any of those, making their upcoming 4th studio record, Monumental, which is due to be released this October, one of the most anticipated records, at least for me. And also making this one of those bands, which if you haven't yet, you should definitely check out right after watching this video. Just like Karna, Tінь Сонця were formed in the 1990s, and just like them, they also have their own unique blend of folk metal and classic heavy metal, labeling their style as Cossack metal, specifically for having a unique traditional musical instrument bandura in their lineup. And instantly enough, I am actually more than sure that many of you viewers of this channel do know this band without knowing that you know this band, as one of their songs, Cossacks, was an unofficial hymn of the Ukrainian football team during the UEFA Euro 2016 championship, and was also a song used by the boxing champion Alexander Usyk, which I'm more than sure many boxing fans will recognize instantly. Oh, and by the way guys, the frontman of Tінь Сонця, just like the frontman of Karna, and just like members of many bands on this list, either were or still are in active military service in the Ukrainian army or volunteering for the army. Which is just a reminder that nothing, and I mean nothing, can stop metal. And also a reminder that if you're postponing playing an instrument because you have no time, most likely you do, just like myself. I really should practice more. A young band, Blight 8, where by the way every member is in active military service, was formed at the beginning of 2022, right after the start of the full-scale invasion, and released their first album, More Than One, in November that same year, and pretty much right away caught an eye of quite a lot of people internationally. So much that the legendary Within Temptation invited Blind 8 to join them on the European tour back in 2024, and even proposed them to record a collaborative single, Labyrinth, together. Another Ukrainian band formed in the age of nu metal dominance is Anna, which name is actually an acronym that stands for Atomic Nuclear No Corrupted Attention. Whatever that means, and which have made a massive noise on the Ukrainian metal scene after they reunited for a very special fundraising performance last year, and since then remained quite active, with them even releasing their first new song since 2018 and preparing a brand new studio album to be released very soon. Another young band on the list, 0% Mercury, were formed in Kharkiv, yet were forced to relocate to Vinnytsia after the start of the full-scale invasion. With 2 albums under their belt, 0% Mercury turned some heads in August of 2023, when they represented Ukraine at the Wacken Metal Battle, and are definitely a band for you to watch if you are a fan of a modern mix of deathcore and metalcore. Hailing from Vinnytsia, Space of Variations were formed in 2009, so they have been around for some time, and they actually started as a metalcore band, but have since evolved into a much more chaotic and experimental sound, with their 2022 Napalm Records debut, Imago, being hard to characterize, and their latest EP, which they dropped just this year, being even a harder one to do that with. Yet, nevertheless, they still definitely do deserve your attention if you're a fan of the modern metal sound. Another powerhouse from Vinnytsia. Formed in 2016 as a metalcore post-hardcore act, Sick Solution radically shifted toward a modern hardcore sound in 2020. Since then, they released 3 EPs and a full-length album in 2024, with their latest EP 1995 supported by a massive Ukrainian tour. And overall, here I just have to point out that Ukrainian metalcore and hardcore scene is simply thriving at the moment. So there will be a couple of bands in that genre in this particular block. And so, continuing the narrative, representing Ivano-Frankivsk, Telema is a young band that's been blending metalcore with alternative metal since 2019. And in my opinion, it is actually one of the fastest growing metal bands in Ukraine at the moment, and definitely one of the most hard-working ones. But if you do want to dive slightly deeper into the heavier sound of the core genres, you have to look to Kyiv's Drudkh. Formed in 2019, they are easily among the heaviest young hardcore bands in the capital, and since they dropped their debut album Panopticon in 2024, they have become one of the staple on the local gig circuit, despite the whole fact that over half of the band actually does serve in the military. But moving away from the metalcore or hardcore genres, Kyiv Thrasher's Zombie Attack have been delivering aggressive old-school energy since 2010, and in my opinion, they might actually be the best representatives of that true old-school thrash metal spirit, which whole essence was in blending new wave of British heavy metal with the punk rock sound, and definitely is the Ukrainian thrash metal band, which still keeps the fun in thrash metal. Possibly one of the most experimental bands on this list is White Ward from Odessa. Since 2012, they've been blurring the lines between black metal, post-metal, and what they call dark jazz. And to this very moment, they have released 3 albums and 3 EPs, with their 2022, well, I'm not gonna be ashamed of this word, masterpiece, False Light, being a standout for the genre. And thus we come to the heaviest side of the metal spectrum, for which, let's be honest here, if people do know Ukrainian metal, that's what they mostly know it for. With the first band on the list being, I'm more than sure, familiar for pretty much all of the fans of death metal, as Zaporizhia's Hell On is a titan of the Ukrainian extreme scene. Since 2005, they've been perfecting a brutal thrash death sound across 7 studio albums, lately leaning more towards atmospheric death metal groove, with their newest studio album, the final one of the trilogy, being prepared right now and is set to be released next year. Oh, and by the way guys, I'm actually set to go on tour together with Hell On to record a special documentary on how Ukrainian metal bands still operate and still tour amidst the war in Ukraine, which I originally intended to release only on Ukrainian channel. But if you would like me to release it here, please do let me know in the comments, as I'm more than sure it will be quite an unusual and quite interesting look at touring, even for those who are not new to the industry. Lviv's 1914 has gained a massive international recognition since forming in 2014. Their atmospheric mix of black, death, and doom metal focuses entirely on the grim themes of World War I, and with 4 albums under their belt and countless sold-out venues all across the world, they are definitely the band to watch in the genre if you're a fan of a more extreme side of metal. It is no secret for pretty much all of the fans of black metal around the world that Roman Sayenko is a seminal figure in the Ukrainian black metal scene. And through Drudkh, a band that has never given a live concert in its existence, he continues creating deep, atmospheric music often based on classical Ukrainian literature and poetry, blending black metal with death and folk influences while still staying in the dark after more than 25 years on stage, without actually stepping on stage, and creating a cult following with absolutely zero promotion and without giving pretty much any interviews ever. Coming from the black metal capital of Ukraine, Kharkiv, Khors is one of the biggest names in the game. Since 2004, they've released 8 studio albums and shared stages with legends like Behemoth, Enslaved and Moonspell, among many others. And to this very day, Khors remain not only active, but keep on making new music, which is definitely worthy of checking out if you're a fan of the raw black metal sound. Kyiv's Fleshgore has been a staple since 2000. They started in the grindcore and brutal death world, but have since morphed into a punishing mixture of thrash and deathcore. And a funny fact, I think they were actually the first Ukrainian metal band to ever perform at the legendary Wacken Open Air back 20 years ago, and have been going ever since. And finally, one of the most unique and one of the youngest bands on the list, from Odessa. Formed in 2021, Labyrinthus Stellarum play what they call cosmic metal, a blend of atmospheric black metal and ambient sci-fi themes. And when they started, guitarist Mikhailo Adronati was only 14 years old, yet since then they already released 3 studio albums, with each and every one being better than its predecessor. So that's about it. These are some of the active Ukrainian metal bands that I really wanted to share with you on this very special day of the 35th anniversary of Ukrainian independence. So please let me know what you think of any of those and whether you would like me to release a part 2 of this episode. And once again, just wanted to remind that our very special fundraiser, together with the legendary Judas Priest, is actually going on right now. And for a donation of any amount, each penny of which will of course go to support our volunteer efforts right here on the ground in Ukraine, you're actually able to win some unique prizes from nobody else but the metal god himself, Rob Halford. So please check out the link in the description to this video, and let's once again show that our metal family is one of the most loving and caring communities out there. But for now, thank you so much for watching this video, guys, and we will prevail. Slava Ukraini!